The House That Learned Our Names. The house on Briarwood Lane had been empty for 17 years, which in a town like Alder Creek meant it had a history no one wanted to finish telling. When the realtor handed Ethan the keys, she hesitated just long enough for him to notice. "You'll hear things at night," she said lightly, smiling too wide. "Old houses breathe." Ethan laughed because laughter was cheaper than asking questions. He needed the house, cheap rent, quiet street, space to write. After his wife died, silence felt safer than sympathy. The first night, the house was perfectly still. The second night, it learned his footsteps. He noticed it just after midnight when he went downstairs for water. The floorboards creaked behind him, not beneath him, delayed, imitative. When he stopped, the sound stopped. When he walked again, the house followed a half-second later, as though practicing. "It's settling," he muttered. The third night, the house learned his voice. Ethan woke to hear himself whispering his own name. "Ethan!" It came from the hallway outside his bedroom, soft and careful, like someone testing a fragile object. He lay frozen, staring at the dark. Grief had taught him that the mind could be cruel, that it could replay voices with terrifying accuracy. He closed his eyes and waited for silence. Instead, the whisper tried again. "Ethan, are you awake?" That was wrong. That wasn't memory. That was curiosity. He didn't sleep after that. On day 4, he asked the neighbour. Mrs. Calder lived next door, her house neat and bright, her eyes too alert for someone her age. When he mentioned the whispers, she didn't pretend not to understand. "It doesn't like being empty," she said. "Never did." "What is it?" Ethan asked. She shrugged. "A place where something stayed too long." Before he could ask more, she added, "If it calls your name, don't answer. It learns faster that way." That night, the house learned his memories. Ethan dreamed of his wife, Mara, standing at the foot of the bed. Her face was almost right, but her eyes were wrong, too reflective like wet glass. "You left me," she said in Mara's voice. "I didn't," Ethan sobbed. "You died." Her smile widened, stretching past what a mouth should do. So did everyone else. He woke screaming. From inside the walls came a sound like quiet applause. The next morning, doors were open that he had closed. Photos were turned face down. The mirror in the bathroom fogged while he watched, letters forming slowly as if written by a patient finger. "Stay!" Ethan smashed the mirror. The house screamed, not aloud, inside him. Pressure bloomed behind his eyes, filled his chest, pressed thoughts flat until there was room for only one command: stay. He ran. Outside, the air felt thin, unreal. As he reached the street, his phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You forgot something." He turned. Every window of the house was dark except one, the upstairs bedroom. In the glass stood Mara, waving gently, her head tilting too far to the side. Behind her, shapes pressed against the walls, faces forming and unforming like breath against skin. The house wasn't haunted, it was hungry. Mrs. Calder found him hours later, sitting on the curb, bleeding from shattered glass cuts he didn't remember getting. "It let you go," she said, surprised. "That's new." "What happens to the people who stay?" Ethan whispered. She looked back at the house where the windows were dark again. "They help it remember," she said, "and it remembers them forever." That night, the house on Briarwood Lane was empty again. But sometimes, when the wind is right, the floorboards still practice footsteps. And if you listen closely, you might hear it whispering your name. If you want even longer and darker a haunted asylum, forest, or creature-based horror, or something psychological instead of supernatural, just tell me.